All right. So today is day number 6 of the journal challenge. And today we're going to talk about being authentic. Yesterday we talked about, oh my goodness, what are we talking about yesterday? Why am I having a brain freeze right now? I'm literally having a brain freeze about what we talked about yesterday. Mindful. Duh. Why couldn't I think of that? I'm sorry, y'all. So yesterday we talked about being mindful. Today we're going to talk about being authentic. And so when we talk about being authentic, authentic is basically about being genuine and true to who you are. It's the opposite of being ashamed of who you are. It's about showing up as your true and genuine self. And a lot of times, we want to say, oh, I keep it real, I keep it 100. But what I have found is a lot of times that is expressed in a way to communicate to others that you just say whatever you want to say without regard to another person's feelings or having an understanding of what the energy is behind the words that we speak. And when you're being authentic, not only are you able to express who you are in a way that is not harmful to yourself, but you're also mindful, like what we talked about yesterday. You're also mindful about what you say and how you connect with other people. And so when we think about being authentic, we have to look at the way we accept ourselves. You can't be authentic until you first accept who you are. Okay. And until you first accept the way you have been created, the way you, the attributes of yourself and the aspects of your character. And so again, today is day 6 of the journal challenge. And if you've been following along, you know that you can text journal 30 to 39492 in order to get all the questions to the journal challenge. So let me see if I can get this right because I messed it up. Day 1, we talked about bondage. Day 2, we talked about boundaries. On day 3, we talked about intentions. Day 4, we talked about adjustments. Yesterday, we talked about being mindful. And today, we are talking about being authentic. And so each day, we have a word of the day, and we also have questions that are kind of centered around those words. But every day, we want to look at what we did today to bring us closer to our best self. And so when we think about today, it being 8 o'clock Eastern time, we want to look at what have we done on today to bring us closer to our best self. And so that is the question I want you all to think about each and every day. Think about that when you rise. And so I have asked everyone to make sure that you have your own separate journal to basically write these questions down so that you can go back and reflect. And I'm doing it as well. So I don't want you to think that this is something that, I just have for you. This is something that I'm also doing for myself as well. I'm going on this journey with you. This is a journal of self-discovery. So anyway, back to the word of the day, authentic. When we think about being authentic, again, we're thinking about being our best self. And being authentic is a process. It's like peeling layers off of an onion. It's something that you do daily to be more accepting of who you are and to grow into the person that you are. So it's not something that you do and you have it, perfected in a day. It's a growing process because we know that as we go through our life, we change and we grow. At least we should be, because if you're not growing, then you're dying. So every day we should be doing something to grow and again bring us towards our best self. So our first question around being authentic is, let's see here. In what ways do you struggle to be authentic in your relationships and in your life? In what ways do you struggle to be authentic in your relationships and in your life? So think about that. What are ways that you are not showing up as yourself? Is it, maybe in your family, maybe you've taken on a role, from childhood, and you feel like you have to live up to that role, what people have put you in. Or maybe in your career, you have some type of reputation, and so you're not being authentic. You're not really showing up as your true self. It might be in your in some of your significant relationships or your friendships that you might not be being authentic. There are some areas where maybe you are, showing up as your true self, and you're not ashamed of that person. Again, you just have to look at which area of your life, that you might be struggling with. And so as you look at that, then you need to write that down in your journal. You have to be honest. This is something that's personal. You have to be honest with yourself. Where am I not meeting the mark? Have you grown and changed into a different person, and you're not really ready for that big reveal? You're not really ready to show up as who you really are. Or have you been, I call it living a lie. Like if you have on a mask, a lot of times we, I call it your representative. You send your representative to certain places of your life, and people don't really know who the real you is. So think about that when you think about being authentic. It's also about forgiveness as well. And we're talking about forgiveness of yourself, because sometimes we have shame around things and choices that we have made, and so it keeps us from expressing ourselves and expressing our true identity to others. So be mindful. That's the word we talked about yesterday, having awareness. Be mindful of not only where there are areas in your life that you need to forgive yourself, but how that is blocking you from being an authentic person, how that is blocking you from being more available, to others. As we move into different transitions and cycles and seasons in our life, we have the tendency, to still hold on from things from a previous season or from a previous cycle in our life, and it's hard for us to sometimes even accept ourselves as who we are today. And so if you're struggling with self-acceptance, and it's going to be really hard for you to be that person that you need to be for people to accept you. If I can't accept myself, then I definitely can't, communicate self-acceptance to you, for me. So think about that. That goes back to day one when we talked about being in bondage. There are so many areas in our life where we can have bondage, and not forgiving ourselves is definitely one of those areas. So think about that. Also, I want you to be mindful of as well. Are you being a chameleon? Are you like blending in? Because sometimes you might not be showing up as someone else. You might just be kind of blending in and not wanting to stand out. Like you might not want to draw attention to yourself. And that again relates back to shame. So you want to make sure that you're not the chameleon, in the family. Also, when you're being authentic, it might require you to make unpopular decisions. Everyone is not going to be excited about changing your life. Everyone is not going to be excited about transitions that you make in your life. And so that means it's not going to be popular for a decision that you make. And it might be something simple as changing your eating habits. You might not embrace a particular, spiritual belief that you were raised, on as a child. So think about that as well. Just look at where in your life are you either blending in or you are sending a representative that is really not who you are. Let's see here. Just looking at my notes. Another thing, I know there's a quote that says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. There is no one like you in the whole freaking universe. Like, you are a star, okay? You are unique. There's no one like you. And so it's really best that you send yourself anyway. Don't send the representative. Don't send the decoy. Send yourself. Because when you do that, you're sending someone who's not like you. You're sending the best version that the divine, our God, has created. So be yourself. Also, when you think about being authentic, think about different character traits and aspects of yourself. Have you ever heard someone say, like maybe in an interview or something, when you're asked to define what your strengths are or your weaknesses are, and you struggle with it? Like, if I asked you to maybe talk about the strengths and weaknesses of your best friend, then you can say, they're this, they're that, but we kind of shy away from talking about ourselves. Well, it's not arrogant or self-serving to be able to talk about your strengths and your weaknesses. So when you think about that, that's our next journal question. I want you to think about, different aspects of yourself and what's the absolute favorite characteristic about yourself. That's your next question. What's the absolute favorite characteristic about yourself? Start to think about the way you show up in the world and what you bring to the universe, what you bring to the table. There is something about you that the world needs. There is something about you that your family and friends need. And when we hide behind who we are and when we try to blend in and be a chameleon, then we're not, giving of the gifts that we have. We are really here to give and to serve and to shine bright and be there for each other. We say a lot of times, oh, I don't need people. You're lying. Like, that's just not true. When I hear people say how they don't need other people, I see that there's a wound there. And a lot of times when we're not being authentic, it's because we have wounds, which we all have wounds, but we don't want those wounds to be touched. And so, we are phony or we're fake. We have these guards up and these defenses up, and we're not able to really just kind of stand in who we are, stand in our power. And being yourself and being authentic, it has, again, nothing to be with hurting other people and not being considerate of what we say and how we show up. There is energy behind our words, energy behind our deeds. And so when you are really being authentic and true, you're also, again, being considerate of other people because we are all connected to one another. So think about that. Those are the two questions. You definitely want to think about where in your life you're not being authentic. You have to think about that first. You have to think about, where am I not showing up as myself? Where am I sending a representative? And then once you are clear on that, then start doing some self-assessment like, hey, what do I love about me? What about me is like my super, super favorite thing? Like, there's got to be something that that you bring. And if you find it hard, we talked about being mindful yesterday, and I told you that I like to call it checking in. So think about that. Like, if you find it hard to think about your absolute favorite characteristic about yourself, I need you to pause and check in. How are you feeling? Does that make you feel uncomfortable to think about something amazing about you? Are you struggling? Is that a challenge to even list one thing about yourself? Check in and see why you're feeling that way. We're staying in the present moment right now. Why do you feel that? Why is that hard for you to say one thing about yourself? because that means there's some work that you need to do there. That means there's a wound there. So think about that. And so our affirmation for today, again, we're talking about being authentic, is I am good enough just as I am. I speak up for myself. I ask for what I want and I claim my power. And it's a lot in that affirmation. I mean, it starts off by saying I'm good enough. That was actually one of our first affirmations, I am enough. So this is I'm good enough. And I speak up. Speaking up for yourself is about being authentic. I ask for what I want. That is about not just saying yes when you want to say no, and it's also about just not blending into the background. No, everyone's personality is not, vibrant and outgoing, but are you blending in to not be noticed? Are you blending in so that you don't have to speak up, or so that no one knows you're in the room because you're ashamed, or you're basically checking in to see why you're doing what you do? And the other one is I claim my power. I claim my power. We are all powerful individuals. As I said yesterday, God is in us. We are powerful. So whatever your gifts are, when we talk about what's your favorite, aspect of yourself, you need to stand in that. You need to claim that. That is your gift to the world. And when you're not claiming that, when you're ashamed, when you're blending in and not contributing, then you're not being authentic. So again, our affirmation is I am good enough just as I am. I speak up for myself. I ask for what I want. I claim my power. We have affirmations every day, and you have to say those affirmations in the mirror. You have to look in the mirror. You have to believe this, and you want to say it even in disbelief. Like if you don't believe it, just say it anyway. I'm good enough just as I am. I speak up for myself. I ask for what I want. I claim my power. The more you say it, then you will start to ingest it, because it's just like when we speak to children or when we do self-talk to ourselves. When you say things that are negative and hurtful, you start to believe those things. So be mindful, again, the word from yesterday, be mindful of that. Let's see. Okay. So again, if you want to, we're going to do this every day. We have a word of the day, affirmations of the day, questions. If you want these to go straight to your inbox and be notified, because sometimes we can't make the 8 o'clock live video, and I will send you to your email a notification for the questions, and to see the recorded live videos, just text journal 302394923992. Also, this is the last day to sign up for the Transformation Breakthrough. So make sure you click the link in the description and sign up. I've made it super accessible, limited amount of people. I actually extended the day from yesterday. So please sign up, because it's going to close tonight for real this time. So click the link. It's only $18 to sign up. Make sure you do that. This is about the Transformation Breakthrough is basically an intimate coaching group that I'm doing, and it's about mind, body, spirit, and tribe. And I want to make sure that it's, more just intimate, and so that's why I'm only taking a few people. So make sure you do that. Tomorrow we are, hold on, let me see what we're talking about tomorrow. Oh, okay. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about alignment. That's going to be our word for tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock for day number 7. So we've had almost a whole week together, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you've got something to grow on. Make sure you share this video with others. Make sure you're writing in your journal. Send me something to my inbox and let me know how things are going. I want to hear from you. I want to know, that you're being helped and everything is going good to your expectations. So we're going to talk about alignment tomorrow. Text Journal 30 to 39492 and make sure you click on the link so you can be a part of the transformation breakthrough. It ends tonight. All you have to do to sign up is pay $18 and then you pay the balance later. Okay, so that's it. I'm making it super easy, no excuses. Don't have another missed opportunity for 2018. I sent out an email earlier to people. I'm like, look, y'all spend more on Christmas gifts and you are willing to spend to invest in yourself. And I'm just brain boggled. How come we don't want to invest in our growth? That's just, to me, I don't understand. But I'll see you all tomorrow evening. Thank you so much. I have so much gratitude for you. So much. Thank you. Good night. And catch me tomorrow, Sunday. What is it? January 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern time.